Day 47 of the war has been characterized by questions about how the American blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is actually working. Well, the Strait of Hormuz is the choke point in a very large piece of water. The Gulf is 600 miles long, a great deal of traffic in the Gulf, in the normal day-to-day traffic between all these countries. But many of these ships, we know, are trying to disguise their identity so that they don't show up on America's lists of ships that they want to interdict. And the Americans, they're not occupying the Strait of Hormuz for this blockade. They want to keep out of harm's way. So they're down in the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. And from here, they're operating to interdict ships coming through the straits and out of the area so they can then actually intervene in those ships that they really think are illegitimate according to their own rules of engagement. The Iranians have made clear that if their ports are blockaded, that they'll do something about it. In effect, they will close the Bab-el-Manded Straits at the southern tip of the Red Sea. They can do this by getting their Houthi allies to actually attack shipping going through the straits the way they did a couple of years ago, and they reduced traffic in the Red Sea by about 50%. And that's pretty bad news for the Saudis in particular, because they have a pipeline that goes to Yanbu port, can take about 6 million barrels a day at the moment through the Red Sea. But if they can't get their tankers out through the Bab-el-Mandeb Straits, they can't get many of them out through the Suez Canal, because the draft of the Suez Canal is only about 25 meters. The biggest tankers can't really live with that. Only small tankers could get out that way, which would lock up a lot of oil and gas inside the Arabian Peninsula. But of course, world commerce is not just about oil and gas. It's also about container ships and bulk ships and so on. And if world commerce cannot use the Red Sea, then they have to go the long way round via the Cape of Good Hope. And that adds time and expense to all of their journeys to get their produce to Europe, North America and South America. And interestingly, the George W. Bush, the aircraft carrier that is on its way from America to join the American task force in the Arabian Sea, is not going through the Red Sea either. It's on its way round the coast of Africa. It was reported a couple of days ago in Namibia. It's obviously now, I imagine, on the east coast of Africa, on its way to join the others, going the long way round. That's sensible from their point of view. There's another issue here as well, which is China. Chinese carriers, Chinese tankers bringing oil from Iran are really important to it. And it's a very delicate issue as to whether the Americans will intercept Chinese tankers. We'll have to see. But the Chinese also have a base right at the Bab-el-Mandeb Strait. Their only overseas military base is in Djibouti, right opposite the American base, opposite the bay. They're looking at each other, in effect. And the Chinese have assets in Djibouti. If they get drawn into some sort of enforcement action against the Americans, they have a base from which to operate. And that may turn out to be rather important in the years to come. All of which brings us back to the Strait of Hormuz. This was not a problem before the war began. Before the 28th of February, the Strait of Hormuz was operating as it has done for many years. But now the war has begun, it is the big issue of the war. In theory, the war is about preventing Iran getting a nuclear weapon. In practice, for the rest of the world, it is all about the freedom of shipping and the damage that this is doing to the global economy. Which takes us back to the old cliche that wars are inherently unpredictable. You can have the best military in the world, but if you don't have a clear strategic aim to use that military, then the results are likely to be messy.